Okay, we are live, and today we are going to talk about how to attract love in your life. How many of you are interested in learning how to attract love in your life? Type in love in the chat window now. This is actually a weekly platinum special call that we do only for platinum members. But for the first time today, we are doing this live on YouTube for the first 30 minutes. And then we're going to do some personal question answers with the platinum members regarding today's topic. But that is a live coaching. And because it is live coaching, it's only for platinum members. So after 30 minutes, we will go out of YouTube and we'll continue only with the platinum members. All the platinum members who are here, are you ready? I'm opening my chat window for all of you. Type in the word love now in the chat window if you're ready to create lots of love in your life and attract love in your life at the same time. So let's begin before we think about anything else in life. So as you're thinking about love, let's learn about what really stops people from attracting love in their life. Let me give you a quick story about a lot of people in our community who've been asking me the same question. About a question especially comes a lot of times from girls, but also from boys. A very common question. And if some of you can relate with that question, type an I in the chat window, okay? Question that people ask me is, why am I not able to attract my life partner? Why am I not able to get married? Second question people ask is, I'm finding partners, but somehow I break up, and every time similar problems are happening in my life. Some of them are also asking that I'm married, but I'm still not having a good life partner. I still have the same problems that I wanted to avoid in my partner. How many of you have similar problems or similar questions? Type an I in the chat window if you have similar questions about how do you really start attracting a good life partner in your life, and why are we not able to do that in our life right now? Here is the main reason behind it. All of you first write down the statement, nothing is missing in our life. All of you, please write this down. Nothing is missing. All of you who are here in Zoom, all the platinum members, type in nothing is missing. And all of you who are on YouTube live right now, type in the chat window, nothing is missing in our life. But the illusion that we all have is something is missing inside me. That is why I need to find somebody else. Let's take an example. Somebody who says, I want to find love. Somebody who says, I want to find a soulmate, has this idea that there is something that soulmate has, there is something that partner has, which I don't have. I am incomplete without that person. How many of you agree this is how people look for their life partners? Type in yes in the chat window if you agree. We feel I want something that I don't have right now. I want companionship. I want love. I want a friendship. I want someone to be with me for the rest of my life. I want commitment. I want this concept called marriage. A lot of us feel we want something that the other person has. Now, what is the opposite of I want? Can anybody tell me what is the opposite of I want in the chat window right now? Whether you're attending from YouTube, no, that's not. I have is the positive of I want. It's not the opposite of I want. What is the opposite of I want? Come on, quickly. What is the opposite of I want? I don't want. Okay, that's one part of it. Here's another one. The opposite of I want is somebody who wants. Why do they want? Why do they want? Think about it. Because they don't have. Because they don't have. Somebody who always has this feeling, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have, constantly asks, I want, I want, I want, I want. When somebody is constantly vibrating at that frequency of I don't have, that is why I want love. These people vibrate at a frequency of the D word. Can anybody tell me in the chat window what is the D word? What is the D word? Let's see if somebody can catch it. Very good. See, everybody got it. Desperation. We are desperate to find somebody in our life. And because we feel desperate, we feel empty in our life, we feel impatient, we feel hollow as if something is missing in our life. Now, anybody who's desperate, what is their frequency? Positive frequency or negative frequency? Tell me quickly. Negative frequency. In fact, tell me, if somebody is desperate to take money from you, do you feel comfortable giving money to them? Give me a yes or no quickly in the chat window. If somebody is desperate to give you something and take money from you, will you feel like working with them? No. Same, just like money. If somebody is desperate to get love from you, it creates a sense of intuition in other people. Why is he so desperate? Why is she so desperate? And they don't want to connect with you because they are desperate. So that's the first reason why we don't attract love, because the more you say, I want love, the more you are basically saying, I don't have love. Now, what does that mean? I don't have love. It means that you don't love whom? Everyone tell me in the chat window, you don't love whom? You don't love whom? People in YouTube, type in the chat window. Myself. And somebody who doesn't love themselves, do they love their company or do they get bored of their company? Quickly tell me in the chat window. Do they love their company or do they get bored? Bored. Somebody who loves themselves, do they feel lonely with their own presence or connected with their own presence? How does somebody who's disconnected from themselves, somebody who doesn't love themselves, will they feel lonely or connected with themselves? Lonely. So someone who is bored with themselves, someone who's lonely with themselves, what are the chances that somebody comes in their life and experiences love with them? Higher chance or lower chance? Tell me quickly. Actually, zero chance. Why? If I am feeling bored in my company, all of you actually repeat with me. Come on, all of you repeat with me. I am bored in my company. I am lonely in my company, but you will love being with me. But you will love being with me. Is that logical? Say yes or no in the chat window. Is that logical? No, that's not logical at all. But there are so many people who are vibrating at this frequency of loneliness, bored. They are scared of being alone in their own house. So they're not scared of being alone. They're basically scared of being with the one person whom they hate. And who's that one person? Themselves. Correct? Who would you be bored with? Someone you hate. You don't like that person, so you get bored with that person. So the first lesson today is going to be very important. If you really want to attract your life partner, or if you're already married and you don't have love in your partnership, here is why you don't have love. Because there's nothing to give here. The more you are looking for love on the outside, it means you're not loving yourself. Now, what does that mean? It means two things. Step number one, start saying, I love myself. Everyone write this down in the chat window. I love myself the way I am. If people don't love themselves, will they have love frequency within them? If people don't love themselves, will they have love frequency? They don't have love frequency. So will they attract love then? No, they will not attract love. So believe it or not, I personally know girls who are beautiful. I know boys who are really handsome. I know girls and boys who are eligible, which means they're independent. They're making good money. They're good people, but they're not attracting a life partner. Or even if they attract somebody, for some reason, they go through a breakup again and again. How many of you are going through this right now? Type an I in the chat window. If you're somewhere in the middle of this problem right now, and even if you're married, you're realizing that there's not enough love. Why? Because you're attracting somebody who's not giving you love because you're not giving yourself love. So the love frequency is missing within you. So the lesson number one always has to be, I love myself in my own company. I love myself the way I am. The more you learn to love yourself the way you are, only and only then will you really learn to attract love, because then you're vibrating at what? Love. What is that hand again? Love frequency. When you're vibrating in that love frequency, there's enough love in the world. You'll automatically attract it. But then the second reason why we are not attracting love is this. The reason is because the more we don't love ourselves, the reason behind not loving is we feel there are some qualities we want which are missing in us. And remember, I started by saying nothing is missing in life, but we strongly believe there is something missing in me. And whatever is missing in me, I want to fulfill that from whom? Come on, everyone, tell me. I want to fulfill that from whom? From someone else. Correct? Now, the more I want to fulfill this from someone else, am I being a beggar or am I being a rich person? Come on. I'm being a beggar. So if I am always wanting to fulfill my wish from someone else, I'm a beggar. Now, what will a beggar attract? Rich person or beggar? Beggar. So rich people attract rich people, beggars attract beggars. If two beggars get together, will they become rich? Hello? No. In fact, they become more poor. Why do they become more poor? Because both the beggars are fighting with each other. You give me, no, you give me, no, you give me, no, you give me. You understand me, no, you understand me. And in the bargain, nobody's giving to each other because they have nothing left inside them to give. And as a result of that, that is why the relationships don't work and people keep breaking up. Now, why do people keep breaking up? I'll give you a completely new perspective today. The reason people keep breaking up is this. Listen to me carefully. When somebody goes through the first relationship in their life, which they break up with, Everyone take your hands like this. Imagine you're holding a knife. Come on, take your hand like this. Imagine you're holding a knife. You had your first breakup. It may be in school, it may be in college, anywhere in life, okay? And let's say that was with your father, where your father hurt you in a certain way. That is also a love relationship, right? So take your hand like this. Put that sword in your heart. Now, this is called a wound. What is it called? Everyone type in the word in the chat window. Wound. So you got this wound called, my father treated me like this. Now, if your father hurt you, something your father did that hurt you, raise your hands, yes or no? Can all of you give me an example about something about your father that you don't like, which hurt you? And it has been a wound for you for a long period of time. I'll give you an example. My father always shouted at me. My father never gave me freedom. My father always was biased towards my brother or my sister, and Saul gave me less love. What are you angry with your father or mother for? Let's look at father first. Okay. All of you tell me, what's your wound with your father? What do you hurt about your father? Was it comparison that you hurt about? Was it that your father was always talking to you with a lot of anger? Didn't give you enough attention? Whatever was that quality, write that quality down in the chat window. Now, all the platinum members, don't worry. Your chat is only visible to me, nobody on the YouTube, okay? Now, whatever you are angry with your father about, write down that quality, not only in the chat window, in your notepads. Now, write down number 1 for that quality. Wound number 1, W1, wound number 1. Okay. So everyone take your hands like this. Say wound number 1. Okay, wound number 1. Now what happens is, you're trying to meet somebody for getting married or finding a boyfriend or finding a girlfriend or whatever. Make a guess. What is the one quality you're going to make sure you will avoid? Make a guess. Which quality will you avoid? The quality which you're wounded by. How many of you agree? The quality that you're wounded by. Now, an example of that quality is the father was angry with you, okay? Or he was short-tempered, or he compared you with somebody. Now, when you find a person in your life, every time that person even gives a hint of that quality from your father, are you going to go towards the person or are you going to go away from that person? Raise your hands, please. You're going to go away from that person. Now, this is wound number 1. Let's write down wound number 2. So now let's say you had your first relationship in your school or your college, and again, that relationship didn't work out. What was the reason you got wounded in that second relationship? What is your wound number 2? What was the quality of that person that wounded you? Try and remember and write down that quality in the chat window. I'll give you an example from my life. One of the qualities which I felt I was wounded by one of my girlfriends many years ago, and she left me, she broke up with me, was because she thought I am not successful enough. So what was the quality that I did not like about her? She was judging me for my financial status. She was judging me for my career status. Do I like that as a boy at that age? No. So this becomes my second what? Everyone take your hands like this. My second wound in my heart. So everyone write down what's your second wound and tell me in the chat window also. Try and remember what's your second wound which you are thinking somebody wounded you and somebody hurt you in your life in relationships. Not living up to their standards, not giving them enough money. I don't know, whichever is that wound, quickly tell me what is that wound. Then that becomes your second wound. Now you get into another relationship. And every relationship you go to, will you avoid these qualities or are you comfortable with these qualities? Quickly tell me in the chat window, will you avoid or be comfortable? You'll avoid these qualities, correct? Now here's what happens. Do you remember in the beginning I said, nothing is missing, we have everything. How many of you remember that? Raise your hands if you remember that. Nothing is missing, we have everything. Now it doesn't matter which person you attract in your life. Come close to me, everyone. The qualities which you're scared about is there in every person in the world. Because nothing is missing, everybody has everything. I repeat, the qualities which you're scared about, nothing is missing in anybody, everybody has everything. Now the problem is you are looking for a person who doesn't have which qualities? Those wounds. Yes or no? Now, I only gave you examples of 2 wounds. Can anybody think about your past right now and give me an example of how many wounds do you approximately have? Approximately. Give me a number in the chat window. Come on. I can tell you 8-9 breakups I had. So I have definitely 8-9 wounds for sure. How many wounds did you have in your life? Come on. How many hurts? And one wound doesn't mean one breakup. It means number of qualities of that person which wounded you. Number of qualities of that person that you did not like in that previous relationship. And you'll find that there are anything between 5 to 10 different qualities that has hurt us about our previous relationships in our life. And now here is what we do. We unconsciously start protecting ourselves from all those people who have these qualities. How many of you had a bulb-on moment right now? We unconsciously start protecting ourselves from all those people who have these qualities. But what did I just tell you a few minutes ago? Everybody in the world has all the qualities because nothing is missing. But you create a fantasy in your life that because I have these 10 wounds in my past about maybe I had just one relationship, but I still have 10 wounds because there are these 10 qualities about a person I don't like. So then people will make a list based on their past. I don't want a smoker. No, last time he was stinking. I don't like a smoker. Okay. I don't like people who drink. No. I don't like people who shout. No. I don't want people who are not settled financially in their life. No. I don't want people who are not good looking. No. So you keep striking out all these points. And you have at least 8 to 10 different wounds of qualities. How many of you agree with that? Raise your hands. At least I would say 8 to 10 things that you don't like about people, right? Now here's what happens. No matter which guy you go to, you'll find at least 50% of these qualities in that guy. No matter which girl you go to, you'll find at least 50% of these qualities in that person. Now, if you agree with that, type in yes in the chat room. At least 50% of these qualities that you're avoiding. But somebody who doesn't have love and wants love, what is the D word they are vibrating at? Quickly tell me, what is the D word they're vibrating at? What is the D word they're vibrating at? Desperation. Okay. So somebody who's really desperate for love finds a person. Okay. Now that person starts showing signals of all those qualities that you don't want. But because you're desperate, will you be able to clearly see the signals of those danger signs of all the qualities that you don't want in that person? Type in yes or no. No, you will not be able to see the danger signs. And because you're not able to see the danger signs, you're going to have what I call a fantasy. Everyone write down the word F for fantasy. Now, what is a fantasy? A fantasy is this person is amazing, has no bad qualities at all. Only good, nothing bad. Only good, nothing bad. That's called a fantasy. And you are 100% sure this person doesn't have all those qualities that I was avoiding in my life. This is pure fantasy. How many of you agree this is pure fantasy? Raise your hands. Why do we call it a fantasy? I'll tell you why we call it a fantasy. How many of you have seen this movie called Avatar? Anybody's heard about this beautiful movie called Avatar? Now that movie is actually a reality or a fantasy? Come on, everyone tell me in the chat window. R for reality, F for fantasy. They go into this beautiful outer space and there are these beautiful, colorful people, all of that. Like it's a beautiful movie, but it's a fantasy, right? It's not a reality, it's a fantasy. We created these movies, we created these fantasies. Yes or no? What happens with a fantasy movie? After 2 hours or 3 hours, the movie is over. So now here's what happens. Because a person is desperate, doesn't see all the red signals of all the qualities that you want to avoid based on your wounds, you avoid those qualities, but you don't see those danger signs. Because of the desperation, you have fantasy, this person is amazing, and you get into the relationship. And after 15, 20 days of honeymoon period, in some cases, the honeymoon period lasts a little longer, like 1 or 2 months, but maximum 1 or 2 months of honeymoon period, you start seeing which qualities. Everyone tell me in the chat window, which qualities do you start seeing in that person? At least 50% of the qualities that you are avoiding in a person. At least 50% of those qualities that you are avoiding. And now that person starts demonstrating those qualities. So when that person starts demonstrating those qualities, I'll tell you what starts happening. Everyone take that knife again. Take that knife. And every day, guess what's happening? Every day. Every day. Every day. Every day there's hurt happening. Every day there's wound happening. Now, what will people do if they don't want to handle these wounds in that relationship? Will they continue this relationship or will they break up? Yeah, they break up. And when they break up, Now they go through another big wound because there are more wounds collected in this relationship. Raise your hands, yes or no? So they take a lot of time to recover from those wounds. Takes 3-4 months. In platinum members, we try to recover in one session. But many people without support go on with these wound experiences for 1 month to 1 year to even five years. How many of you have seen some people like that? Raise your hands. And then after 4 or 5 years, they learn law of attraction. So they make affirmations. I'm happily married. My partner is very good looking. My partner is very rich, very well settled. And once again starts the affirmations based on what? R for reality or F for fantasy? Yep. There goes the fantasy affirmations again. And then they do a lot of hope, no, for all those fantasies. And are they meeting somebody? Nah. Because, by the way, is there anybody knows what is the meaning of this word akal? बोलते ना akal पड़ गया. Like, I don't know what is the word, English word for akal. Drought, yeah, drought, right, drought. So, लड़कों का अकाल है क्या दुनिया में? लड़कियों का अकाल है क्या दुनिया में? How many of you agree there is abundance of people around you? Raise your hands if you agree there is abundance of people around you. Yes or no? But here is the problem. The reason they don't find a guy is they're wearing this goggle, which is looking for what? Looking for what? One left side, there's a goggle that says fantasy. इसमें ये सब कुछ होना चाहिए. The second part of the goggle, how many of you have seen those 3D goggles with one blue color, one red color? How many of you have seen those? Fantasy goggles, right? So there's a blue color is all about fantasy, fantasy, fantasy. He has everything I want. He has everything I want. She has everything I want. She has everything I want. But you're constantly having that red filter. And what is the red filter trying to show you in those people? Show me your hands, everyone. Where is that knife? हाँ, इसके पास वो चक्कू तो नहीं है. ये मारेगा तो नहीं. But believe it or not, every time you see people, you see blue, you also see what? You see some reds. So here's what happens. You meet somebody, you say, nice person. And then in 5 minutes, you see a red sign. No, not this one. Then you meet somebody else. 5 minutes, not this one. Because you're constantly looking for which person? Both sides blue. But unfortunately, you can see blue and red both. You can see good qualities and bad qualities both in people. Raise your hands. Yes or no? Now, what happens is they use affirmations for a long time. And then they come for these DMP calls. And in 9:30, sometimes they see some people have started attracting marriage. They see some people's job they've got. So now again, their D word goes up. What is the D word? Once again, everyone tell me, what is the D word? Like, sabka ho raha hai, mera nahi ho raha hai. What is that D word? Desperation goes up again. So when the desperation goes up, the emotion is very high of desperation. They stop seeing the red flags. Which red flags do they stop seeing? Take a hand. They stop seeing the wounds again. And they only focus like this. Everyone take a hand like this. Everyone take a hand. So when you have desperation, the red patch is hidden. You can only see the blue now. So now you're back to fantasy. And finally you find a guy. Finally you find a girl. And you're like, wow, this is the one. How many of you have had multiple relationships like this? Raise your hands, please. And every time it feels like this is the one. Raise your hands. And every time, how does the person leave you? Show me your hands. Like one more wound. Yes or no? Right? And unfortunately, with that desperation, you avoid all the red signals again. You get into that relationship again. And what is over after 1 month? What is over after 1 month? Honeymoon period is over again. The fantasies are over again. And then again, the person starts doing what with you? You find at least 20 to 50% of those qualities which you were avoiding. And again, this person, everyone take your right hand like this with your knife. And you know what this person does every day? Every day. 3-4 बार. 3-4 आते जाते ताना मार के जाएगा. आते जाते कुछ तो बोल के जाएगा. आते जाते कुछ तो करके जाएगा. How many of you have experienced this? And then you ask this question to yourself, especially people who've learned law of attraction, they become magical, guilty people with law of attraction principles. I'll tell you what they will ask now. Now they will ask, yaar, meri frequency mein kuch gadbad hai. I need to go and check with Mitesh. What is wrong with my frequency, yaar? Huh? Why am I attracting people like that? How many people have already done this kind of crazy guilt game with yourself with all law of attraction principles? Right? Like, what is wrong with my frequency and all that jazz? And then you go into this Meena Kumari phase or that Devdas phase again for a few days. Yes or no? And you're guilty for a long time. And this continues and continues and continues and continues. And people keep being desperate, guilty, desperate, guilty, desperate, guilty. What is the one word we call this? What is the one word we call this? When there's a repetitive emotion happening again and again and again, what is the one word that we call? Pattern. Now, my question is, how many people have gone through this in the past, or you're going through this right now? Type in G for guilty in the chat window. If somewhere you're feeling that you're stuck in this pattern and you're not able to attract somebody, or even if you attract somebody, you're breaking up with them. Yeah. This is why it's happening. How many of you got a very clear understanding of why it is happening? Because a lot of people ask me, why is this happening with me? Okay. Did you get some clarity today? Everyone type in clear if you're clear about why this is happening to you. Did I give you a clear description about why it's happening? Perfect. But now everybody has a question. Okay, now I know why it's happening. So what's the question now? What is the what? Tell me in the chat window. Come on, people in YouTube, type in the chat window. What is the what? Yeah, what is the solution? Well, I'll tell you the solution. I do this with people in Platinum, and I've already done this so many times. And I remember, I think last we did this with Pooja, where we cleared up the wounds in the past. Simple. First, we clear up the wounds in the past. Of all the qualities that you are what? All the qualities that you are what? Everyone tell me in the chat window. All the qualities that you are, now the A word. What is the A word? Not afraid. Avoiding. Avoiding. All the qualities that you're avoiding. Now, why do we need to clear these wounds? Because you're constantly avoiding these kind of people. And unfortunately, nobody, no matter who you go to, you'll find at least 50% of these avoiding qualities in anybody else. How many of you agree with that? Raise your hands, please. Now, before I tell you the solution, check your body, everyone. Okay, I'm especially talking to the Platinum members and some of you on YouTube also. Check your body. You'll start having some kind of discomfort somewhere in your body by this part of the conversation. Now, is anybody getting some kind of a discomfort? Either in your back starts hurting, or your head starts hurting, or you're yawning. Some discomfort has already started. Okay, good. So tell me in the chat window, how many of you've got some discomfort right now? And where is the discomfort happening right now? Is it in the heart? Is it? No, this is not the heart. This is the head. Okay, maybe in the head, maybe in your heart, maybe in your back, maybe in your shoulder. Some kind of discomfort must have happened right now. Yeah, I can see a lot of people saying that right now. Super. Shoulder, neck. Yeah. Some of you will just feel sleepy. Now, you know what is this called? You know what is this called? Anybody knows what is this called? What you're going through right now? Resistance. Very good. Thank you, Arita. All of you write down resistance. What is resistance? Resistance means you're resisting yourself with the solution now. Because somewhere you feel there's no solution. And the problem has become too clear now. So when the problem becomes too clear, it's like the wound has opened up. And you start feeling discomfort somewhere in your body. But I want you to know that solution is there. And if you don't believe me, check. Wherever you have any discomfort, touch that part of your body. If it may be your head, it may be your heart, it may be your shoulder, it may be your neck, it can be your lower back, it can be just feeling sleepy. So then just keep your hand here. But wherever you are feeling something, discomfort, any uncomfort right now, just touch that part of your body and say, I'm ready to let go of these wounds now. And say it loudly, I'm ready to let go of these wounds now. I'm ready to let go of these wounds now. I'm ready to move on. I can handle it. I can handle it. Now just say the word release and take a deep breath. And check for how many of you that discomfort has gone down a little bit. Type in D for down in the chat window if it's gone down a little bit for you. I'm not doing the whole thing right now with you because we're doing YouTube live. We'll do details once we end the YouTube. But how many of you it's gone down a little bit? See the number of people typing it down. See, this is the proof I was giving you that your body reacts to your emotional frequency. So when there was negative frequency, the headache started or the backache started. And the moment you said release, now the body is relaxing down. Now the body is open to receive the solution. Are you ready? Type in I am in the chat window. Type in I am in the chat window if you're ready to receive the solution. So the solution is very simple. The solution is we use some methods to clear the wounds. And I was telling you the example of puja. I said, we clear the wounds of the past relationships and we have no more complaints with any person in your past. And if you start healing those wounds and you accept the fact that everybody has everything and you start loving yourself. If you do all these 3 steps together, we'll be doing it with some of you in Platinum right now. But if you really start loving yourself, you really start healing those wounds in the past, and you start accepting that these parts you are going to face somebody somewhere, and you can deal with these things again in the future, because when you were hurt, you were a different person. Today, you're a different person. How many of you agree with that? Raise your hands. And if you were to meet the same person with same qualities today, you will not let that person hurt you anymore. How many of you agree with that? Because you're stronger today, you're wiser today, you have more knowledge today, you have more wisdom today. Give me a thumbs up, yes or no? So you can deal with it, but for that, you need to first heal the wounds of the past. So if you love yourself, you heal the wounds of the past. And if you're willing to face these qualities in the future now, suddenly your D will go down. What is the D? If you let go of your wounds, and if you love yourself the way you are, and you believe that there's nothing you need to seek in the other person, you don't need to find love anywhere else. You don't need to find satisfaction anywhere else. You don't need to find companionship anywhere else. You'll start feeling something with yourself. Now comes in the C word. Can anybody tell me what is the C word? You start feeling that about yourself. You start feeling that with yourself. Not comfort, not courage, not compassion, not clear, not complete. Connected. Everyone write down the word connected. You start feeling connected to your own soul. You start feeling connected to your own energy. And once you start feeling connected to yourself, you can sit hours and hours with yourself and not get bored. And because you now know that nothing is missing in you, you know that the qualities that you're avoiding in other people, who has those qualities? Everyone raise your hands. Who has those qualities? Yeah, even you have those qualities. So if even you have those qualities, and if you love yourself with all those qualities, then can you face it in another person also? Yes. But you can't face others when you don't love yourself, because remember, nothing is missing. If you are judging somebody else to have those qualities, you have those qualities too. And the day you start loving yourself with those qualities, now you're ready to love who? Somebody else with those qualities, if you're ready to love yourself with those qualities. For how many of you, this is an eye-opening conversation right now? Type in eyes in the chat window if this is an eye-opening conversation for you right now. That is why people don't attract love. So what we do is we unconsciously protect ourselves from all the people in the world who have any qualities which are related to our past wounds. Solution, clear your wounds. Solution, love yourself. Solution, if you love yourself with those qualities which you're avoiding, then you realize you have those qualities too. Now you're ready to deal with the same qualities in another person and love the other person with the same qualities. And now suddenly you'll attract that person. Is this mind-blowing? Everyone type in MB, mind-blowing in the chat window. If this is crazy amount of understanding of frequency here. Yes or no? Okay. So now what is for people in the YouTube here? You've understood how and why you're going through this stuck feeling of not attracting love in your life, why you're constantly having breakups in your life. Solution, learn to love yourself, learn to upgrade your frequency in the way you connect with yourself, learn to heal those wounds in the past using any methods that you can, whether it's advanced LOA, whether it's Ho'oponopono, whether it's being part of Platinum, but learn to heal yourself. And then love yourself enough to deal and to realize that you also have those qualities that you're avoiding. And I'm telling you, if you're ready to love yourself with those qualities, suddenly you're ready to love somebody else with those qualities. And the moment you're ready, you know what you've generated? Everyone show me your hands. What have you generated? A new frequency. And then the moment you generate that new frequency, you'll attract somebody in your life. And I'm guaranteeing you, if you finish this process properly, you'll attract somebody literally in 1 month, maximum 4 weeks. I've seen this happening again and again and again in Platinum. How many Platinum members have actually already experienced this? You've gone through this process with me and you found somebody in your life very fast. Type an I in the chat window if you've actually found someone like this fast. See, there are people here already who found that kind of a life partner very fast in their life. because they cleared their wounds in the past, because they started loving themselves, because they realized that they have those missing, those qualities which they're avoiding in somebody else, they have it too. And because they were now ready to love themselves, they were now ready to love somebody else. The moment you're ready to love, suddenly love appears. You know, like you've heard, when the teacher is ready, the student appears. And when the student is ready, the teacher appears, both ways. Exactly like this, when you are ready to love, guess what? Love appears. Now, how many people in Platinum would love to have a one-on-one conversation about this and actually heal some of your wounds in the past so you can create more love, maybe to attract somebody in your life, or maybe to resolve some of your relationship conflicts where if you're already married? How many of you would love to have a one-on-one conversation in this? Okay, great. We will have that conversation right now privately because I want to keep these conversations private only within Platinum for all of you. So with that, all of you who are in YouTube, I hope this was valuable to you. This is what we do in our weekly Platinum calls. And if you're interested in this, all I want you to do is register quickly on this link, which is miteshkhatri.com/platinum. Watch this link, take a screenshot if you need to, reverse the video later if you need to, and watch this link again and register here. Come for the webinar, come for the introduction on what Platinum is all about and what do we really offer in this program that gives people this kind of lifetime support. I'm not talking about weekly support. I'm talking about lifetime support for these kind of conversations in your life. Okay. So I hope this was valuable for you. If yes, quickly like this video and share it with any of your friends who need to learn what you learned today so that they can also heal their wounds. And subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. And I will see you soon in the next YouTube video live very, very fast on something more magical about law of attraction. Thank you very much, everyone on YouTube. Say bye-bye to our Platinum members. All Platinum members, say bye to everyone on YouTube here. They can see you. And all YouTube members, remember once again to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so that you will get email from YouTube next time when we're doing one more such lesson. Okay. Those of you who loved it already, whether you're on Zoom or YouTube, type in loved it in the chat window. Now, I will see you soon.